Welcome everyone to our Tornello for Streamers webinar. This is the first streaming webinar we've presented, and it's great to see so many people are interested in this new promotional tool for chess, streaming. What does it mean? How does it work? And what can you do on Tornello to to use these features on Tornello to improve your chances as a streamer. So firstly, I just wanted to give a quick background to Tornello. My name is David Cordova. I'm the founder and CEO of Tornello. Tornello is a web-based pairings program that started in 2008. I was running a chess school in Australia, and we had a lot of kids who were playing in chess tournaments every single week. We were running something like 300 tournaments a year. And in order to manage that volume of events, we needed some systems that could help us to collect the registrations, to manage the actual tournaments themselves on the day, do pairings and so forth, but then also to send results through to players at the end of the day. And well, actually in those days, there was no rapid ratings, so providing some sort of rating system for the players as well. So that's how Tornello was built. Back then, it was a tournament management system that integrated the three aspects of running an over-the-board chess tournament. And those three aspects were the registrations in advance, then pairings and managing the tournament on the day, and then results, player profiles, ratings, and communicating with players at the end of the tournament. And so Tornello grew up as a pairings program, essentially, and tournament management system for over-the-board tournaments. We put the project on hold in about 2012, and we had about 8 years of no new features. We were just sitting there, and we were using the tournament. Something like 15,000 tournaments were run through Tornello over those years, but all of them over-the-board tournaments. In 2020, March of 2020, COVID struck the world, changed how chess was, being played forever. And I guess some people still believe that it's going back to, the way it used to be pre-COVID. But I can assure you nothing is going back to the way it was pre-COVID. The world has changed, and it's just a question of people who adapt and people who slowly fade away. So in March of 2020, we did what everybody else in the world did to try and keep our 300 odd chess tournaments live and running. And we said, well, how can we put those chess tournaments on the internet? And so we looked at all of the platforms that existed for running online chess tournaments, and they just didn't seem to feel right for the style of chess tournament that we were looking to create. So all of the other platforms we find were what we now call on-demand chess platforms. So that's where you can jump online, you can play a game of chess 24/7, day or night. And you can get a game with somebody at your own level. The issue was that it was anonymous, and it didn't give us the same sort of experience as we were hoping to provide to players, the sort of experience that they would expect in an over-the-board tournament. So we decided that we would build our own online games platform on top of Tornello, on top of our online pairings program. And so March, April last year, 2020, we started building the online game server, and we've ended up with a really unique platform, which is designed for arbiters and organizers to run what we call scheduled arbiter-led tournaments. And so the difference is, the on-demand chess is the YouTube of chess. That's where you can jump on, and for free and anonymous, you can just play some games anytime that you like. Tornello is like the live music concert of chess tournaments. So, that's where you come if you want to play an official tournament, if you want to have an arbiter involved, if you want to have some kind of greater meaning and depth and focus to the tournaments. So in general, that means that the tournaments on Tornello would charge an entry fee, whereas a tournament that was kind of hands-off, self-controlled, everyone would do their own thing, would be a free tournament. You know, you don't need to pay to play on an on-demand platform. That's commodity, but the tournaments that run on Tornello are higher value tournaments, and so would often be able to attract an entry fee, and they would definitely have an arbiter who is managing and leading the tournament as they go. So that's a little bit of background to Tornello. We have also with us tonight or this afternoon, depending on where you are, Yezhina Prokopova. She's a European representative. She is sitting in the chat, answering people's questions and sending, there you go, she can even speak. Ahoy. So if you've got any questions along the way, if I'm focused on something else, you can just type a message into the chat. She'll filter all those questions out, answer what she can, forward through any links or resources that we've got that might help you, and then you know, feed through the rest of the questions to me at the end of the session. So we want tonight's session to be about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many questions there are. So we're not going to, hopefully not going to keep you up too late. So this session is all about streaming. So I guess just a quick background: what is streaming? You know, where are people doing it? How does it work? What does it even mean? And how is it relevant to chess? So streaming is basically live broadcast of some commentary on a chess tournament. Okay, it's commonly known as streaming. So we are, for example, streaming this this webinar live on Facebook, and anybody who's on Facebook can watch that live now and interact on Facebook, or they can watch the recording of it, which happens automatically later on. Okay, so that's streaming. We're doing it right now. Streaming has become, over the last few years, an incredibly powerful and popular way of getting chess out to you know, larger audiences. There are something like between 50 and 500 people who are playing chess online for every one person who's playing chess over the board. So for most of us in this session tonight, you know, we come from an over-the-board chess background. We've run tournaments face-to-face, right? And what we see now, thanks to the COVID pandemic, is that everybody has now recognized that there are opportunities that exist in the online world of chess. And so what we're seeing is potentially a kind of a turning point where chess is going to grow somewhere between 10, 50, 100, maybe even 500 times larger over the next few years, as we engage the audiences of people who play chess in an online space only, because there's somewhere between 50 to 500 people who are playing chess online compared to every one person that that you're seeing in an over-the-board tournament. So just, you know, I guess keep that in mind. The internet's a big place. There's a lot of people out there who love chess, but they may never have showed up at your local club or your local over-the-board tournament. Streaming, like how does that help people who are running tournaments? Well, obviously it's getting an audience, it's getting the word out there, and it's starting to build a community. A lot of the streamers in chess are streaming on a platform called Twitch, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Twitch today. But you don't have to stream your chess tournaments or your chess content only on Twitch. You could be streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. You know, Twitch are probably the most common and familiar ones. Obviously, you can run webinar style events like we are here tonight on Zoom. I guess we probably wouldn't call that streaming, because we're not opening that up to the general public and the audience of anybody who wants to be entertained on the internet. People who are coming into a Zoom meeting are kind of engaging directly, as opposed to, I guess, the common thinking about streaming is that it is out there for anybody and everybody to deal with. So Twitch is a popular platform for streamers. Essentially, what Twitch is like it's the ability for you to set up your own TV channel, okay, and TV via the internet. So you set up your own channel and you produce whatever content that you find interesting, and you build a community of people who are interested in watching your community channel, your information. There are something like 9 million content creators, that is 9 million individuals who are creating content and streaming content on Twitch. 9 million people around the world who are streaming content on Twitch. At any one time, there's more than 100,000 channels live online. Okay, so you can go to Twitch right now and there'll be 100,000 different channels to choose from. And that kind of blows your mind. I remember when I was growing up watching TV, we had 3 television stations. All right, that was it. We had 3 television stations, and you had to choose between one of those 3 things, and whatever content was there, that was what you had to watch. Right? Today we live in the information age and the age of the internet, where people from all around the world can choose what exactly do they want to watch. Now, some people want to watch Netflix, some people want to watch Stan and Hulu and all the other movie and TV series streaming platforms, but there are a lot of people who want to watch content that is amateur content, okay, made by somebody who's got an interest and a passion in something, and they'll stream or they'll broadcast their own TV station. So that's what Twitch is. Twitch is 100,000 channels all at the same time, and users on the internet have to choose one of those channels. Now, most people are out there streaming because there is an opportunity to make some revenue. You can actually make some money out of streaming, because on Twitch they've got like a monetization strategy, which they call subscribers. So you can create your channel, you can broadcast content, so you can stream your content, and then your community, the people who are interested in what you have to say and what you're broadcasting, they can subscribe to your channel and they can pay you a fee for the content that you're generating. Right? And Twitch has done unbelievably well over the last 3 or 4 years, and they surpassed YouTube in terms of the revenue that's being generated, and it generates much more revenue for the individual content creator than the 5-year-old or 10-year-old strategy of create some YouTube videos, put the YouTube videos up, and hope that you get a lot of people watching those videos so you can collect some money from advertising revenue. What people found was that advertising revenue is really small. You need to have a lot of viewers in order to get any sensible amounts of revenue. And so the idea that you could engage your community more directly, it's live streamed. So that means that there's some form of interaction possible with your audience. And when the audience is more engaged and find it more interactive, they will enjoy the stream more, and then they're going to start paying you or potentially start paying a subscription fee, and that subscription fee is just way more than what you can collect from advertising revenue. So let's just get some terminology, terminology right there. You've got firstly viewers, that is how many people are watching your content. So you're streaming your video, if it's live or whether it's afterwards. So people can come and watch your content. Those are viewers. People who are interested in your content then follow you. It's kind of like hitting the like button on Facebook. They follow you, and then you've got followers. From those followers, some of those people might then start paying, and those people who are paying are called subscribers. Those subscribers can choose how much they want to pay. They can pay $5 a month, $10 a month, or $25 a month, right? Depending on depending on what they feel about your channel. And many subscribers would subscribe to multiple people on Twitch and be paying lots of different content creators. They can subscribe for longer periods of time and get some discounts. Essentially most people are paying that $5 a month subscription fee that goes in part to the content creator. So if you're a streamer and you're on Twitch streaming some chess content, you will be needing to work towards getting as many followers as you can, and then converting those followers into paying subscribers. All right, and then they'll pay usually $5 a month. As a Twitch partner, as a streamer on Twitch, you will then receive half of that money. So you'll get $2.50 out of the $5 streaming fee, out of the $5 subscription fee that everybody's paying. Okay, so that's kind of the framework. So what I want to do is just quickly take a kind of an in-depth look, or a little bit more of an in-depth look, at one of my favorite streamers on Twitch. So I can just pull up her page, and I'll share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Screen, here we go. All right. Okay, so this is one of my favorite streamers here. Her name's Anna Kramling, and let's just have a look at some of her content. This is her Twitch page. These are all the videos that she has that have been recorded, and you can go back and watch any of those videos that you like as well, or you can watch when she's live. There'll be live broadcast up here. You can see at the moment she's offline. So what I want to do is show you a bit of an example. Anna is the #6 most popular chess streamer in the world. Okay, so she's reached #6 in the world, and obviously Hikaru Nakamura is the #1 most popular streamer in the world, and then you've got other people like Chessbra, who's up in the top 5 and so forth. But she's #6, just outside the top 5 chess streamers in the world. That puts her in just outside of the top 500 streamers in the world across any category. So she's in about the top 0.5% of streamers on Twitch. Okay, so she's in the top 0.5% of all streamers of all content on Twitch. She has lots of viewers, so you can see here on the videos, it tells you how many views she's had on each of her videos. So not a bad number here. 107,000 views on that video. So she had 107,000 views on that video. 120,000 on this one. These ones a little bit lower. 28,000, 3,100. So from that 100,000 views, she might have as many as 4,000 or 4,500 viewers that are online at the same time. Right, so she could have anywhere up to 4,000 people watching her at the same time, but over the course of that video being live, I mean, she was streaming live for 4 hours and 10 minutes, and then that video sits up here for a long time afterwards and collected overall 107,000 views. All right, but on average, she's getting about 1,500 viewers, but with a peak of 4,000 concurrent viewers. All right, so she works incredibly hard. She, in the last 7 days, spent 48 hours streaming. Okay, 48 hours in the last week streaming content. You can see this was a 7-hour stream, 5 hours stream. That was 3 days ago, 2 days ago, yesterday, 12 hours ago. So she is very active, and she's doing really, really well because of that. Okay, and that's why she's one of my favorites. So let's try and unpack what this means as a streamer in terms of converting all of this activity into some revenue. Now, I will just let you know that this is not, there's nothing official. I don't have any official data. I haven't been given any information by her about how this works. I'm just working off some of my own research and general statistics and applying those to what's going on here. So this is not I guess facts. This is a well-educated guess in terms of how do we convert what's going on here. So she's got 100,000 views, which has got her 152,000 followers. Now, in general, your followers, what you want to try and do with your followers is convert them to subscribers, because subscribers pay you money. So that's how you make revenue. So converting followers to subscribers is obviously very varied depending on the size of your audience and how engaged your audience is. Right? It will usually be somewhere between 50 to 150 followers for every one subscriber that's paying you $2.50 per month, or $5, but then Twitch takes half the money. All right. So with 152,000 followers, you would expect somewhere between 1 in 50 to 1 in 150 followers to be converting to paid subscribers. What you'll find is that the smaller channels will often have a better conversion rate. And then as you get bigger and bigger, you get a lot more people who are just in there looking for the free content, and it's much more difficult to engage an audience of 150,000 compared to engaging an audience of 5,000 or 2,000 or 1,000. So Anna's got getting close to 1,000 subscribers at the moment. So her ratio is around about 150 to 1, which is kind of on the within the expected range. But she's got a very big channel, so you would expect it to be on the lower end of that range. So she's got around 1,000 subscribers who are contributing $5 a month each, and Twitch is taking half of that. So she's collecting, and there's some discounts that people can get for paying multiple months in a row and for yearly subscriptions and so forth. So and people can pay more if they want to. They can also pay the instead of the $5 a month, they can pay the the $10 or the $25 a month. So let's just work on some some kind of rough numbers. So with 1,000 subscribers at $2.50 each, some might be a little more, some might be a little bit less. There's around $2,500 per month in revenue for this streamer. Okay. Now, subscriptions is not the only way that you can make money as a streamer. You also get donations or sponsorships where people can sponsor your channel, and that can be anything from just a few cents up to kind of doubling your subscription money. Okay, so on a kind of a best case scenario, my educated guess would be that that we've got here someone who is generating a really good income from streaming, $2,500 from the subscriptions, and probably another $2,500 from sponsorships and gifts and so forth. So we're talking about $5,000 per month, right? Now, $5,000 a month, and this is for somebody who is in the top 0.5% of all the streamers in the world. She's competing against 100,000 channels that are all live on Twitch at the same time. All right. So if you're thinking about doing the same thing, then you need to really try to understand, why are you different? What is your point of difference? How are you different from all of these other, dozens or hundreds of streamers who are streaming chess, all the time? Okay. So we've got international masters, grandmasters, all sorts of people, and they're out there and they're streaming their chess content all the time. So what are you doing that is different, special, interesting compared to everybody else? Because you're competing against 100,000 other people. right? Now, there's not 100,000 people streaming chess all at the same time, but there are still thousands of people who are streaming chess content, right? The goal of streaming is to build a community, right? You need to entertain people, you need to build a community, and a lot of times people are looking for, as well as entertainment and community, they're looking for some sort of improvement. They want to actually improve their their game. And so we see streaming on Twitch not just for chess, but for lots of online of lots of games, computer games. Twitch streams all the big games, and the top streamers in the world, or the number one streamer in the world on Twitch, who's making a couple of $1 million a year, is usually streaming Fortnite. And so what he's trying to do is build, entertain his audience, build a community of people who kind of feel like they're in the same group together, and usually to offer some education value, so that the people who are engaged in the community feel like they're improving. And so generally the same sort of thing works on with chess as well, that you want a community of people who are being entertained, enjoying themselves, but also feeling like they're together in some way, and they can chat with one another, and they can interact in some way, and interact with you as the presenter, and they can also improve their games. All right, so how are you going to be different? How are you going to be able to build a community when you're competing against 100,000 other channels running at the same time as you? And of course, you're not streaming 24 hours a day. And if you want to become, somebody like Anna Kramling, one of the top streamers in the world, you're going to end up collecting around about $5,000 a month in revenue, but you're going to be working hard for that, right? You're going to be, she's streaming 48 hours a week. In the last week, she's been live streaming for 48 hours, and that's probably only half of the work that she's doing, right? Because there's preparation and planning and social media that helps to build and keep that audience engaged. So you're going to be working hard, but you are going to be able to make some good money. All right. So all right, that I think gives us an idea about what streaming is. So let's kind of keep that in mind. Building a community. It's about entertainment. It's about improving. And so how does Tornello, or how can Tornello help streamers to do those things? How can we help streamers to build a community? How can we help streamers to engage, as well as entertain, but also engage their audience? And how can we, critically, help streamers to generate some revenue, right? Because as you've seen, it can be extremely, extremely difficult to generate revenue, from just live streaming chess on Twitch. You need to be in the top 0.5% of people in the world. You need to be, extremely good at what you do in order to get that $5,000 a month. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you a couple of Tornello events that we use this idea of streaming to support the events. Okay. Okay. What we have here is a chess tournament that we've been running in Australia. That's called the RJ Shield. It's a completely online tournament, but it's functionally the same sort of thing as what the Twitch streamers are trying to do. We're building a community of people who are entertained by chess. They feel like they're in a community because they get to talk to one another and interact with each other and with our tournament organizer, our content creator, and they get to improve their game. So you see, we've been running this tournament once a month since March of 2020. March, April, May, June, July, August. Okay, we missed September, October, we missed November and December for some finals and Christmas, and then we've been going through in 2021. In each tournament, you can see our attendance. So you can see we've had 84 players, 80 players, 63 players. So it varies somewhere between, at a low 47 players and at a high close to 100 players in those tournaments. All right. So how do these tournaments utilize streaming to better engage the audience and to actually provide that entertainment, community, and ability to improve the game? Well, I think probably the easiest way to show you that is I'm going to throw a link in the chat, and we're going to just play a Blitz tournament. And I'm going to do exactly for this tournament what I would do for that online tournament that we're streaming. And then we're going to look at the maths and the finances of streaming chess tournaments as opposed to just streaming content. So we've seen how you can make $5,000 a month. Let's see what happens when you're running a chess tournament as well, and compare the difference. Okay. So when you get to the page, this is what you should see. You'll follow the link, webinar for streamers. You'll see a register now button, green register now button. You can click that button, and when you click that button, you'll either create an account, or if you've already got an account, you'll just click here to sign in. You'll put your email address in. Let's say I'm going to do chess3. Okay, and then you'll be able to register your player. So you'll go through the process of registering your player details, and at the end, you'll be able to confirm your entry into the tournament. Let's just enter Jar Jar Binks into this tournament as well. Okay, your entry has been placed successfully. So anybody who wants to engage in this a little bit more closely, I can see we've got 8 people who have registered for the tournament at the moment. You'll go through that process. I can see here on my player list, and you're welcome to then start navigating around. You go to the player list. You can see all the players who have now registered into the tournament, including Jar Jar Binks, who's my fake player. Once you've registered for the tournament, what I want you to do is click the check-in box at the top. There's a blue box at the top. You click that, goes green, and that gives a green check mark, a green tick next to your name. Okay, when you've got a green tick next to your name, that tells me that you are here and you're ready to play the game. All right, so this is basically exactly what I will be doing when I'm running a tournament, which I'm also streaming at the same time. So I'm using the broadcast stream, so streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. I'm using that as a way of generating, I guess, interest and observers, but I'm not relying on that for any revenue, because I know that in order to get $2.50 of revenue, I need to have 150 followers, and to get 150 followers, I might need 2,000 viewers. So it's going to take me a lot of people to come and watch before I end up with a small amount of money, with $2.50. All right, so I'm using the streaming to engage, my audience, maybe the players, who are not actually participating in the event, or the players' friends or parents, perhaps if it's a kids tournament, and I'm broadcasting that just so that people can kind of see what's going on and come back and watch it later on. Mostly the way I'm engaging with the audience, with my community, that is my players, is through the Zoom meeting. So I've got the screen shared. You can see what's going on. You can hear me talking about things, and then we can play a chess tournament. But everything is open to the public. You get to see behind the scenes. How am I doing the pairings? What am I doing each step of the way? Who's playing against who, right? Seeing behind the scenes, it's like when you go to a bakery and you can see the people kneading the dough and making the bread, or you go to a brewery and you can see how they're making the beer, or a chocolate factory is my favorite one, where they're mixing the chocolate and melting it and turning it into all these amazing creations, and you get to go and watch, right? Transparency is a great way of engaging your audience, right? And the whole point of what we're trying to do is to engage your community, to interact with them, and once they're actually playing in the tournament, then they are co-creators of the content. They're not just passively observing, I mean, that was YouTube. Twitch is a step forwards from that, because the Twitch users can interact with you in a limited sense. They can comment, and you can interact and respond to those comments live in real time. So we've gone from passive content, let's say TV, where you don't get a choice, you just watch whatever's being fed to you. 25 years ago when I was watching TV with my 3 TV channels, we've gone through from that to customized content, so you can watch whatever you want to watch. It's individualized. To the Twitch paradigm, where there's engagement and interaction with players or with the audience. And now what we're offering with Tornello is actual co-creation. So the audience is participating in the creation of that content, right? So this content, this chess tournament, is the TV series. It is the movie. And the viewers of the movie are actually actors in it at the same time, right? And that's the beauty of what we're trying to do, right? That's what we're trying to do with engaging the audience, is to go that next step. So it's not just chit chat and a little bit of interaction. It's actually, they are stars of the show. Their games become the content that's being streamed. All right. So we're going one step further from what you can do on Twitch, where people can interact, where you can actually get through all the way to the spectators, the people who are watching the content, actually co-creating it. So I'm just going to pull Jar Jar Binks out of this tournament, because we've got we don't want our fake player here. I'm not going to be playing him, so I'm going to remove Jar Jar Binks here, remove him from the tournament. I've got 15 players. I've got one person who hasn't checked in yet. That's John Lee. John, if you want to play, you've got to tick the box at the top of the page. But I'm going to start the round now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start. I'm going to withdraw John because he hasn't ticked the box, but he can always rejoin the tournament if he wants to in a second. When I click this finish button, that will do the pairings for round number 1. As soon as the pairings for round number 1 are done, you'll hear a noise. You've just heard that noise. And now your games are live. So you'll be able to see a play now button. Let's just sign out from Jar Jar Binks. You'll be able to see a play now button. You'll be able to click through and join your game and start playing your games. Okay, so let's go through to round 1. And I can see that all of these people with green connection status are now into their games. When both players are in the game, the white player can make the first move and just start playing. Okay, so if you're white, just make your first move. The time control is 3 minutes plus 2 seconds a move. If you have any questions or problems, call the arbiter. I'm here with you the whole time. All right, let's just make this a bit bigger so people can see it more easily on my screen. Okay, so here we have the first round of our chess tournament started, except for Mohammed. Mr. Bakar, you're connected to your game. All you need to do is just make the first move. Right? If you don't make the first move, I can start your clock. I'm going to click start all clocks now, and I'm going to get Mr. Bakar's clock started. So if he doesn't make a move, he'll lose on forfeit. I'll also just double check here. Remember, it was John Lee has unwithdrawn himself. So I pulled John out because I wasn't sure that he hadn't ticked the box to say that he was here. So John, what happened was you didn't tick the box at the top of the page, but I'm going to put you back into the tournament now in the first round. I'm just going to click here. John Lee, add to pairings as white. I'll give you a bye. I'll just make it a win on forfeit. So you've got a point for that, John. We're giving you a bye for the first round. So I've got my pairings program open. I've got my round 1 games open, and I've given John a bye for the first round. So John, you'll be into the second round. For now, you can just be watching everybody playing their games, or we can see how we do some commentary on some of the games as the tournament's in progress. So what I might do is jump into a game. All right, let's just jump into, this game seems to be going a bit slowly, but that's all right. Let's jump in and see what's going on. All right, so I've now got this game up on screen, and I can start doing some commentary on the games, broadcasting this commentary to all of you as players in the tournament, but also anybody who happens to be watching on Facebook. So I could have an audience of 1,000, or I could have an audience of 15. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I've got 15 people who are in this tournament who are watching me and I can start commenting on this game. All right, so we've got Lim, who's in Malaysia, and I'm not sure where Ahmad is from, but we've now got this game underway. If I want to make some comments on the game, I can just talk about the game as it's in progress. I can say, well, here Black's played this. Well, I'm not actually even sure what this is called. I used to call it like a pelican or a Lowenthal Sicilian. The idea of that Sicilian is firstly to get White's pawns away from e4 and d4. And so Black's done a perfect strategy here of removing the c pawn and the f pawn and trading the c and f pawns for the e and d pawns. So what that does is leaves Black with much more control over the middle of the board. White's knights over here on the edge hasn't really got very much developed. So we've got a pretty good opening for Black. I think Black's definitely got the better of this opening. All right, so I can commentate on this game. I can be careful not to give away too much, or I can give away as much as I want, depending on the style of this tournament. I can also click this Analyze button here. And when I click Analyze, the chessboard is now highlighted, and I can move pieces around. So I can say, well, if he plays queen here, check, right? Looks like a great move, but the bishop blocks, and now the queen has to just move away. And so basically what's happened is we end up with, with this sort of position here, and I can just move pieces around all over the board if I want to see what's happening. If I want to go back to a different position in the game, I'm just clicking through onto these different positions in the game. And I can, while I'm in this analyze mode, I can now move pieces around the board. So I could even go back to this opening position here, like let's say at this point here, and talk about the strategy from this situation. So I could talk about, for example, this square here in the middle of the board. And you notice how I've highlighted that square red? Okay, so Black's run out of time, probably because you've been watching me. That's all good. So the features that Tornello has for streamers are the Analyze button, which lets you move pieces around anywhere that you like, right? And then bounce back to the position that you were in before, if you want to go back to a position. It's got the ability to right-click on any square to highlight the square. I've got different colors I can highlight. I've got right-click with a shift, which is green, right-click holding down the control, my right-click with control. So I've got shift, right-click, normal right-click, control right-click is yellow, and if I hold down Alt and right-click, I've got blue. So I've got all these different colors, yellow, green, blue, and red, which I can color in the chessboard and make comments on the board. Okay, if I want to get rid of all of those, I'm just left-clicking on the board and I get rid of them. As well as highlighting the squares, I've also got the ability to draw arrows. So I might say this is a really important square. So White's knight should be looking at going 1, 2 and controlling the d5 square. If he plays c3, then what White's plan is knight comes back to c2, to e3, and then into d5, controlling this really important square again. Okay, and so to make an arrow on the board, I'm clicking with my right arrow, and I'm dragging. So it's a right click and drag, right click and drag, right click and drag, right click and drag. Okay, just a right click on the square, a left click clears, and a right click on the square highlights the square. So I've got left click and right click, left click to clear and right click, or right click and drag to draw comments on the screen, on the board. Now, players, while you're playing in the tournament, you may be able to do these same things. You may be able to highlight and draw arrows on the board while your game is in progress. Let's just go back and see. We've still got a few games in progress here. That's all good. We've got a couple of people who've lost on time, and we've got some people who are still playing their games. We'll go in and watch some of those games in a second. Let's watch our top board games, see if there's anything exciting going on here. Bernd, a much higher rated player here, seems to be dominating. And Vishal, I'm sorry to say, you're looking like you're in a bit of trouble here. Your king is wide open, and you're being surrounded by all of your Black's pieces. There's, was it a forced mate? Let's click Analyze, and let's find out. Like, you're in check. You could have moved your king out of check, and is there going to be a checkmate coming up from here. I can't see a mate in one, but if we check where can that king move to, we've gone, well, these squares are covered by the rook, these are covered by the rook, this is covered by the bishop. So every square around the king is protected. This one's protected by the pawn. So all we have to do is find a way of putting white into check, and then it'll be checkmate. So you can highlight squares. So to find out whether, or to allow you to players to stream, let's just go to our tournament settings and show you how that works in the game. So we've got our game rules, and in our game rules, we've got these options here, which allow players to pre-move, or allow players to request take back, or allow players to draw arrows and highlights on the board. So this is drawing arrows and highlights on the board while the game is in progress. So you might invite a streamer to your tournament, and that streamer could then broadcast on Twitch, on YouTube, wherever he does or she does their broadcast while they're playing in your tournament, giving your tournament publicity, and they can comment on their games as they go. We had a Grandmaster Hrant Melkumian in Australia broadcasting while he was playing in some of the chess tournaments that we were running there. All right, and that made it interesting for people who weren't playing in the tournament and generated more interest in our tournament, and therefore hopefully more players coming to enter the tournament later on. So that's what you as a tournament organizer can do to set that up. As a player, you also need to have your setting turned on. So we're going to go, I'm just going to join as a player for a second, and I'm going to see here my game preferences. Now you'll be able to find your game preferences from your game as well. Okay, you'll have game preferences here. And when you've got your game preferences, you've got to have this annotations box checked. So if you've turned that on, you will be allowed to, that will allow you to do the right clicks and the right click drags to draw arrows. Did I mention that your right click arrows, you can also do the different colors if you just hold down those same options. So Alt, Control, Shift, or the red one is just a normal arrow drag. Okay, so you can draw all the different arrows on the board as well. Okay, oops. Let's go back to our round one pairings. We'll see that they're all finished. I'll just make that a bit bigger so everybody can see what's happening again. We've got all our games finished for round number one. We've done a bit of commentary. We didn't do a lot. I was showing you more about the streaming features, but you know, you have to cater to your audience, right? So you guys get to play a game of chess, bit of fun, make some moves, enjoy a game. You can listen to me talking at the same time. Maybe after the games are finished, I could even put, you know, invite some people to unmute their microphones, to go on camera, and we can do a little bit of an interview with those players, right? In the same way that after the World Cup games that are being played at the moment, the players sit down and have an interview with Nigel Short, for example. Well, why can't you do that on a smaller scale? You engage your 10 or 15 people into your local tournament, and after they finish their games, do an interview with them. Let's find out, you know, where does Mr. Hushim come from? You know, what does Rob Hammond like for breakfast? You know, how did John feel about that game, you know, to be able to win with 21 seconds on the clock, or Jose, you know, down to 5 seconds before he finished the game. Right, let me just come back as an arbiter now. So I'm using this switch active profile to switch to the arbiter view. So we could talk to all of the players, communicate with them, and find out what's going on. I'm going to do pairings for round number 2, so everybody can play a second game, and we're going to continue on the same thing. So in the pairings program, I need to reload the page to get all the results and information out of the tournament lobby into the pairings program. And now I'm going to pair the next round, right? So there we go. Our games are created. Helma, sorry, you've got a bye there, but everybody else has got a game. I'm going to go to round 2. I'm going to see how people are connecting to the games. If somebody doesn't connect, I can still engage them. Like, let's say somebody's disappeared and is lost. Right? I might be able to see that from our player list, okay, where I can see some of these players have don't have a green light. disconnected. Well, they're all connected now. So I've got everybody connected to the tournament now. We've got 16 players. So let's go and see if we can add. I've only got 15 players in my list here. So let's reload the page here, see if we can drag that 16th player into the tournament. That shows Mode Ghazali here. And so I'm going to now edit the pairings and put Mode into the tournament draw against Helmer. So Helmer and Mode, you've now got a play now button at the top of your page and you can join the game as well. So it's great to be able to engage players, even like the game started, the round started, but that's fine. I'm just going to jump those guys in and get them playing a game. So Mode, you'll have a blue button at the top of your page, Mode, Mr. Ghazali, where it says play now. If you click that play now button, you'll be jumping into your game and starting your game. If that doesn't start in a minute, I might say, okay, well, Ramendra is not here, Mode's not here. They both haven't connected. I'm going to switch this around and I'm going to get Helmer to play against Mr. Abu Bakar. Right, so I've got two red icons there, Sharma and Ghazali. So I'm going to put Helmer, cancel their games, and put Helmer in against Mr. Abu Bakar. And if Ramendra happens to show up, well, I've got Ramendra and Mode playing against their games here now. So we've cancelled the games. That will give a message to Mr. Abu Bakar and a message to Helmer saying that your game's been cancelled and a new play now button at the top of the page. So you can jump in and click that. All right. So I can now come in here and continue my commentary on some of these games and talk to my audience and engage you as the players with these games. All right. And so it's just up to, like in a junior tournament, I'm going to be talking about different things from what I would do in a higher level tournament. Okay. I can commentate on this game as much or as little as I like, bearing in mind that, of course, the players themselves can hear what I'm saying. Because I'm streaming this game, people can actually see and hear what I'm saying while they're playing their games. So I'll be a little bit careful about saying, "Ooh, this is not going to be a very good move," because if you take that, it'll take you back, and then this queen would be in a really good position. So I might say, well, okay, watch out for this discovered attack at some point. Bishop's going to come down and attack on h7. That's going to be something that white should watch out for. So I want to be a little careful about what I say, because the players themselves can hear what's going on and can get, I guess, can be influenced by what I'm saying in this situation. I might just do a quick count of pawns. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns for white and only 5 pawns for black. So white is a pawn up in this position. White's got good control over that e5 square there. And what's the plan going to be? What's white's plan going to be? I think white would be maybe trying to put some pressure on the queen side over here, keep attacking some weak pawns. Doesn't look like there's too much to worry about on the king side. Black's got a half open file here, which is the kind of compensation that black's had for that pawn that's been sacrificed, and black's got 2 bishops. So I guess with that in mind, white's probably trying to exchange pieces, head more towards a few exchanges, and minimize the chance of black attacking, because black's pawn down, he's definitely going to be going for some attack. I think Bern's thinking about how can he hit this knight here with a check, because that knight on h5 is unprotected. So he might be looking for a move like queen check, and then we've got check and winning the knight. All right, so there's a little bit of a threat going on there. So I may or may not want to, to give away those sorts of things during a game, depending on the type of tournament that's running. Okay, so let's go back and check out some other games. All right, we've had this game is now finished. John and John. Oh, that was good. I was barracking for John to win, and John did win in the end. So it's just John against John. Now we could go through and actually we could maybe analyze a completed game. So we could say, okay, Queen's Gambit opening. This is now going into a typical kind of Benoni opening for black. This is one of my favorite openings for black, actually. I let white control the center of the board with these 2 pawns here. White thinks that they're in a great position, but then I'm going to undermine that center with moves like pawn to c5, try and exchange that pawn, and in the end, hope to see that these pawns that white thinks are strong, controlling the middle of the board, are actually weak. That's what I'm hoping to see. So let's see what happens. Knight c6, yeah, coming out. Maybe hoping that if I go into analyze mode, hoping that the pawn will move forwards here and attack that knight, further weakening those pawns. I'm just thinking now, well, where's this knight going to go though? All right, so you're going to find that your knight gets into a little bit of trouble here. You're running out of places to go. So maybe c5 earlier on would have been a better move. So let's go back here. We've got knight f3, bishop g4, pinning the knight here, starting to put some pressure onto this pawn here in the middle of the board. So that's the whole plan for black, is to try and prove that these pawns are actually weak rather than strong. And so bishop g4, pinning that knight, is a good way of starting off with that. All right, d5, okay, and then giving an exchange. Now, if the queen captures back, the knight ends up in the middle of the board here, which maybe he's thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to have this check and win the rook. But where is this knight really going? He seems to be in a bit of kind of trouble here. He can't really move anywhere at all. And so what would happen after like queen c3, attacking this knight, and then the knight can't go anywhere? Black's going to have to be forced to play nasty things like e5 or c5, trying to protect the knight, because the knight can't actually go anywhere without being captured. Let's see what happened in the game. Queen f3, knight d4, queen d1, okay, and now this knight is attacked and kind of trapped. Like, where is it going? After e5, bishop can just take on e5. Okay, we've got a check. That doesn't really stop anything, and this knight is just gone. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight just gets captured, and so black's just lost a piece and lost the game. So in the end, in this game, white's pawns were stronger than they were weak, but that's the gamble that you take with this opening, where you try to prove that the pawns are weak. Unfortunately, in this game, it didn't happen. So what happened here? He's ended up with losing a rook here. So next move that after bishop takes, pawn check, and he's going to win the rook. So yeah, game over. He's resigned because he's just a rook down now. Fair enough. Okay, let's see what's happening with our last couple of games. Sabrina's in a pretty exciting position, down to just her last 2 seconds. If we get into the game fast enough, nope, she's just lost on time as we've come into the game, 7 seconds against 2. Let's have a look at what else is happening here with our final 2 games. Bernd was winning this game earlier, down to 16 seconds against 7. Black's got a clear advantage on material here, about to promote this pawn, and so I don't think there's going to be any problems for black to win that game here. And yep, Bernd's resigned. There's enough time on the clock for black to promote 2 queens and win that game. Cool. So that one's over. This game started a little bit late because remember we repaired Helma and Abubakar, and now interesting end game here. Got the outside pass pawn, but is it enough to win this game? Well, certainly the clock is looking good for Helma. Active king, outside pass pawn, and yep, black's lost on time. So there we go. Round 2 is over. Results show up automatically, and that is our streamed tournament. So we try to engage people as we're playing. We show them behind the scenes. This is what's going on in the tournament. Here's all our results. We can talk about the standings. We can be, okay, after 2 games, we've got our 4 players, Lim, Baradas, Pikio, and Hushim on perfect scores there. So that's all pretty exciting. Let's have a look at our fair play report. We know everybody's playing fairly, but it might be interesting for people to see who is playing the most like a computer, right? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting assistance from a computer, but it's nice to see Luke is playing pretty well, 56% move match there. Not in any way computer-like that we feel like there's something dodgy going on, but it might be interesting to show your players, who's playing really, really well in their games. Okay, so that's a stream tournament. Let's quickly do the maths. Okay, so let's do some maths. We're trying to compare streaming a chess tournament and collecting entry fees with streaming on Twitch, just chess content, and collecting subscriptions. Okay, so on Twitch, we saw a top 0.5% streamer in the world, someone who's working extremely hard and extremely capable streamer, streaming 48 hours a week and generating around $5,000 a month in revenue. All right, so what about the chess tournaments that we're running online? We're doing the same sort of thing. We're building a community, but we're building a community of players who are playing in chess tournaments. Now, straight away, there's a bit of a kind of a cultural difference. Right? On the internet, people who are watching videos on the internet typically do that for free. Right? YouTube, Twitch, it is all free. People who are playing in chess tournaments are typically paying an entry fee. So we're not having to try and convince people to do something that they normally wouldn't do. Right? They would normally pay an entry fee to play in an arbiter-led scheduled tournament. If they're just going to have a casual game of chess against someone, no, of course, they're not paying anything for that. Right? But if they're playing in a scheduled tournament, then they're usually paying an entry fee. Maybe they're paying a membership, maybe they're paying an entry fee, they're paying something. Now, our tournaments in Australia are typically between $12 and $40 for the tournament. All right. So I know a lot of people think, people won't pay entry fees for online chess tournaments. That's just blatantly not true. Right? The World Youth Championships is charging 65 euros per player, 65 euros per player for an online chess tournament, right? Now, yes, it's a world championship, so there's some reputation already in place, right? But it's 65 euros per player to play an online chess tournament. They're going to get more than 1,000 players playing in their tournament, right? That's pretty good revenue. Our RJ Shield tournament that you saw, we're getting somewhere between 50 and 100 players each time. We're charging $20 per player. So we're getting somewhere between $1,000 to $2,000 per tournament in revenue every single tournament. We're only doing that once a month, right? We're doing that once a month, and we've got no prizes. There are no cash prizes. It is entertainment, it's engagement, it's building a community, it's helping people improve their game, right? It's all the things that people are looking for, and they are prepared to pay for that, right? So we're generating through those tournaments $1,000 to $2,000 per event, and we're running one event per month in that case, right? There are other tournaments that run on a weekly basis. Melbourne Chess Club runs an Allegro tournament, 15 minutes each, on a weekly basis. They charge $20 as well for their entry fee. They're getting somewhere between 40 and 80 players for that tournament. And so they're collecting, again, somewhere around $1,000 per tournament per week. Okay, so we can compare that with a streamer. All right, so a streamer had to get 150,000 people following to generate the $5,000 a month. Okay, and $5,000 a month, let's call that roughly $1,000 a week, a little bit more. Right, you can be a local chess club, right? Generating the same amount of money with 250 members, right? Or 200 members. Okay, we've got Luke here who was telling me about the chess club scene in Belgium. Right? Belgium, small country, chess is not a very high priority in people's lives, and there are still, I think what did you say, about 500 chess clubs across the country, most of them with 10 or 12 players. But if you as a streamer can build a community of just 12 players who are prepared to pay an entry fee for a tournament of, say, $20, which is the average entry fee that we're charging, then you can be making $1,000 a month, right? That'll put you in the top, 1% or 2% of streamers on Twitch with a lot less effort, because you only need a very small community of people who are engaged in playing tournaments and paying an entry fee for those tournaments, rather than engaging a massive community of spectators and hoping that some of them convert. Right? You can have the spectators there as well, but use the spectators as I guess, food, feeding you more new players into your community of players, and focus your efforts on generating a community of players who want to play and pay an entry fee. We still run in Australia hundreds of tournaments a year, and I will share my screen again, and I will show you, because a lot of people just don't believe it. They're like, well, you can't charge an entry fee online, or you've got to have all these fair play processes in place, right? It's just not true. We run all of these tournaments with one arbiter, with between 80 and 100 players. There is an entry fee of around 20 Australian dollars per person. So we're collecting $2,000 per month, and we just run one tournament a month. So we're not working 50 hours a week for this, like a streamer to generate $5,000 in the month has to work 50 hours a week plus development time. We are building a community of a couple of hundred people who are interested. I think we have about 400 people who play throughout the course of the year, and that gives us between 50 and 100 people each month. We charge $20 entry fee, and we'll have this tournament once a month. Every now and then we'll do some other interesting different things. So International Chess Challenge. So we just created a chess challenge with a chess coaching business in the US. We've got 53 players who are playing in that tournament. Again, all paying their $20 entry fees. Okay, and we'll do that on an occasional basis just for something interesting to do. Right? There's another $1,000 in revenue. There's no prize money in this either. If we look at, we run a series of school chess tournaments. Okay, so our school chess tournaments, here's our calendar of events. Okay, so each of these tournaments, we're getting school kids to come and play as part of a team. Now, the school players will pay only $12 per person to play. But look how many we've got, 2 a week, 3 a week, okay? We've got all of those tournaments. Now, we're doing this in Australia, which has a FIDE-rated chess community of 3,000 players, right? We are a tiny chess country, right? We've got a greater population than Belgium, but Belgium's got way more chess players than us. And we are still able to run all of these chess tournaments in the next 3 months. So that's between, the end of July and the start of September. We're running all of these tournaments, and we'll get around about 100 players for each of these tournaments. 100 people coming to play an online chess tournament, paying $12 per person, having a fantastic time. All right, and we are using streaming to engage those players. They're not sitting there quietly playing a game of chess on the internet, not doing anything. They are playing their games. There's commentary running at the same time, and when they finish their game, they're on the Zoom meeting and they're in the stream. We can commentate. We can talk about their game. We can do an interview with them, just like you would at the World Cup, right? So people can feel like they're actually part of the content. They are part of the creation of the entertainment, right? So we are going one step further than than Twitch, which is simple interaction. And we're now allowing the spectators, the observers, the viewers on TV to actually co-create. They're watching the movie, but they are also actors in the movie at the same time. They are playing a part in the movie, and they are actually generating the narrative. They're generating the story, right? Are they winning or losing? Now, if you're streaming on Twitch, you don't lose any of the ability to have subscribers as well. So, you could be running a series of tournaments, collecting the entry fees, and at the same time building a list of subscribers who are paying you those $2.50 per subscriber as well. All right. I can see we've got arbiters in India here. Of course, the entry fees in India maybe are going to be different. You might not be charging $20. You might be charging, what do we normally charge, like 200 rupees or something like that to play in a tournament. Our tournaments are typically, blitz or fast rapid play tournaments, and they're finished in something like 2 to 3 hours. Right, so it's 2 to 3 hours of entertainment. Of course, in India, the numbers, like we've run some school tournaments in India, and we get 1,000 kids to come and play in those tournaments. Right, they're paying 100 rupees each. Right, but that's still, when you convert that to US dollars, we're still talking nearly $2,000 per event. Right, so to reach those sorts of numbers, you need to be one of the top 0.5% of streamers in the world. To do that with entry fees and simply engaging your community to co-create the content, engaging your community by using like in-tournament streaming, if you like, to make it something where they finish a game and they don't have silence, but they've got something going on, and they've got some way of participating and engaging and interacting. You will find that it's a great 3 hours. The players will really enjoy it. They'll enjoy the participation. They'll enjoy the engagement, and they will pay an entry fee for that. And you can reach the same revenues as a top 5 streamer in the world with 50 players. 50 players in your tournament. 50 players is all you need. Right. Now, if you've got a club or you've got a federation, or you've got an existing tournament, you can leverage off that as well. So maybe you've got a face-to-face chess tournament that you run at the end of the year. Why not stream 10 tournaments through the year as qualifying events, right? And people can play in those tournaments. It's promotion, it's marketing for your over-the-board tournament, but at the same time, it's paid marketing. You're getting paid for it, right? Because you're charging an entry fee. The prize for each of those tournaments might be a free entry into your tournament at the end of the year. So it doesn't actually cost you anything at all. You give away a couple of free entries, but you generate all that revenue and all that buzz and all that marketing hype through the course of the whole year. What else can I? So we've also had leagues tournaments. That we've also we charge an entry fee. Usually that's around $5 per round. Okay, so they'll play, say, 7 or 8 rounds, 1 game a week over the course of 8 weeks, and we'll charge $5 per round. And so the players are only joining in for an hour to play 1 game and get a little bit of commentary after their game, maybe an hour and a half, and you can collect however many dollars. For how many players you can get. So we had 300 players in our league. That was $1,500 per week in revenue from those players. Platform has got its own, kind of features and benefits. You need to work out as a streamer and as a broadcaster, what features you need. Obviously, for running a tournament, Tornello is the platform that gives you the most control with the least amount of effort. So I can run a 100-player tournament on my own and stream and collect registrations and do everything with almost no work before or after the event, right? So that's what Tornello is really good at. We can keep everybody engaged. So, finally we can get, Mod and Remendra into their game and get them playing their game. I can see they're both connected. I've got overview of everything that's going on. But I can also, at the same time, if I want to, simulcast my event on Lichess, for example, and try and collect some extra viewers, I can do simulcasts, right? I don't know how valuable that is at attracting more players to your tournament, but that should be your focus, is how many entries do you have in your tournament, right? Because every entry comes with an entry fee, and that goes towards your monthly revenue. And you want to be in the top 5 streamers in the world, you need to be generating $5,000 a month or more in revenues, right? Now, you should be able to do that easily. Oh, look, there you go. Remendra and Mod have just started their game while I've been talking. You can generate $5,000 a month easily with entry fees. I think what we'll see, we don't see it yet, but I think what we will see is that the best tournament organizers on Tornello might get 1,000 players in their tournament, right? Or 2,000 players in their tournament. I mean, we're pretty experienced in Australia. Our Kids Unlimited organization is pretty experienced at running tournaments. And at the end of the year, we'll run national championships, and we'll get 600 players in that tournament. And those 600 players will pay probably about a $50 entry fee. It used to be $70 for over the board tournaments, and we've reduced it. So they might pay a $50 entry fee, but we have upsells on that, right? So we've got 600 players. We've got an upsell for coaching. They can pay a little bit more for coaching and get access to a private Zoom breakout room or a Zoom room just for kids who have paid the extra money for coaching. We've got upsells for private coaching as well as group coaching. So we can generate kind of a lot of revenue from one tournament, right? So that's 600 players at $50 each is $30,000 in revenue. So in that one tournament, which is a 2-day tournament, we've generated more money than a top 5 streamer in the world has generated in subscriptions in an entire year. So just kind of think about that and realize that, okay, yeah, 600 people is a lot. We probably had maybe 5,000 people who are engaged through the course of the year. But what can you do even in a local level with a small number of players? Even with 10 or 12 players playing an online tournament, paying $20 entry fees, you can be generating reasonable revenue. So it is really all about building that community. And I encourage everybody. I think anybody in the world can build a community of 50 to 100 players. Maybe just locally. You don't even have to go big, but you can build a community of 50 to 100 players who like to play chess, in the same way that every chess club in Belgium can get 12 people in their local village coming and having a game of chess. When you put it online, it removes all those barriers of travel and hassle, and it becomes much more convenient. I really truly believe that anybody in the world can create a small community of 50 to 100 players. We've got a great example of a really fantastic story of a chess coach in Melbourne. He doesn't have a very high rating. He's somewhere between 12 and 1400 rating. He doesn't have a massive community of people. He's got a tournament every single week, and that tournament every single week is generating somewhere. He's got a $20 entry fee, and he's getting somewhere up to 50 players. So it's generating for him about $1,000 a week, which is above the average salary in Australia. And Australia is an extremely high-paid country. It's generating an above average salary for him for running a 4-hour tournament once a week online. Right? And he's now able to collect more than the average worker who's going out and working in an office or a factory or a store 40 hours a week, right? And he can do it in 4 hours a week and make the same sort of money. doesn't take very much. He doesn't have to be a fantastic player. He just has to engage his audience. He just has to build a community of people who enjoy playing chess tournaments together. So I wish everybody good luck. Tornello's job is to facilitate this, to help make it easy for you to run chess tournaments online, and to collect registration fees, and to do the streaming, and to make it a great experience for your players. If we can do that, we can help you turn chess into a business or a career, or you can use the streaming and commentary side of things, for your own chess tournaments in any way that you like.